Hello, everyone. Welcome to This is It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and this is Damon. I'm not going to ask you to speak right now. And Cameron
Like,
Riley. How are you, Cameron?
Doing great.
It's just we'll give you another second or two. Cameron, you can expound as much as you want. I know you have a lot to expound on.
Sybil, as I pontificate upon this here week, the second week of July, I am awestruck by the warm stretch of weather that Chicago is experiencing. As I mull over this great lived experience of these long 31 years, I ask myself, where shall I go next? And what shall I do next? Only for me to find that the world is at its most open to me. And Damon is almost done chewing. So
I think he is. I think
okay,
he's
I'll stop
almost
waxing
or
poetic.
swallow. Okay.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'm doing great. It's nice to see you all.
Freddie,
And then he wraps it. I'm doing great. Hello, Damon. Hi,
yes,
Damon.
I think my Wi-Fi is acting up. One.
What a surprise. So Cameron, go ahead and pontificate a little bit more.
Sure.
As are you out and about in the weather?
Yeah. Last week I stopped by Perceptions Theater. My friend is the executive director, and they had their first in-person play festival. So it was very nice to see theater happening again. I also saw the Jesse White Tumblers last week.
At the theater?
No, separate event.
Okay.
Last Saturday, I rode my bike everywhere that I needed to go, and I went to North Lawndale first. They were celebrating the grand opening of the new Ogden Commons, and the new CEO of Sinai Hospital Systems was there.
For a lot of people not in Chicago, this means nothing. So can you be a little bit more
Yeah, so
explicit?
along 16th Street, there's a street called Ogden, which is where
This is all on the south to the downtown area of Chicago.
yeah, this is like the southwest side. Ogden Street is where Route 66 used to run along, so it's like a very historic area. People don't know what Route 66 is.
It's a whole song. Get your kicks on Route
It's
66.
We have no idea what you're talking about.
Route 66,
Six.
Route 66 transverses the entire country. So everybody should know Route 66.
I
We
know,
don't know where it is in Chicago. It means nothing to us.
and it
Oh.
doesn't mean. And for most people in the country, they Route 66 is really something that people don't understand these days. They don't. They
Gotcha.
don't know. I know you can. But I'm just saying. It's a great reference, but it's an older one
I see.
to the
Yep.
older soul that you are, Cameron.
Yeah. Well, more and more, I'm beginning to understand that that's more of a liability than a gift.
Well,
So,
I don't know. I don't know. It'll come in handy as you go.
For those of us in the know,
Navigate
Cameron,
your life.
that was a very informative description.
And
But,
very helpful for Damon. Um,
right.
Damon, how are you?
I'm doing well. So I am home temporarily. We had a great weekend this weekend with Earthquake. His legendary tour kicked off at the Chicago Theater, and they included myself and Just Niche and Leon Rogers along with Donnell Rollins. And Chicago
Wow.
late, but they bought the tickets. Like they came on in there. It was a wonderful show, top to bottom. He has a young man named Spencer Neal that travels with him. He's hilarious. But we also Leon Rogers and I were also both at Riddles too, so we went both. So it was a great weekend. So we had a great time. And now on my next move, I'll be jumping on the festival at Sea Cruise, which departs Saturday. So next Tuesday I'll be off. I'll be back the following Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Unless you want to try to come on and
I could try it.
from the
Yeah.
sea. We'll see.
I don't know what I'm at sea several. You might not want to see that, Damon.
I think we do. I think it would be an
Not since we
awesome-
stopped cussing. No, I'll do it. I will. I'll try for sure.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, guys. Let us talk about what is going on in our newsletter, the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. It's absolutely free. We'd love for you to subscribe. Please go to SybilWilkes.com and give us your name and your email address, and it will be in your email box every weekday morning. Let us start with young Cameron Riley. the man of obscure references and of another time. And Khameron, let's talk about a guy who is making a big difference on the south side of Chicago and trying to do good in his hood as well as inspire so many others. And he has, and that is Pastor Corey Brooks. Tell us the story of Pastor Corey Brooks.
Yeah, so last November, subscribers to the What You Need to Know newsletter probably read the story that we wrote entitled "Pastor, It's Cold Outside," which covered Pastor Corey Brooks and his fundraising vigil to live on top of a series of freight cars to raise money for a community center in Chicago's Woodlawn neighborhood. And for those of you who don't know, that's the southeast side of Chicago that's constantly ransacked by a lot of the issues that Black communities across America deal with: poverty, violence, and so on and so forth. Since then, Pastor Corey Brooks has had to experience a lot, not only living outside through the seasons and preparing meals and just dealing with the elements, but he also had to miss some life experiences with his daughters. He also lost his mother, but he's been inviting the CEOs of different companies, various public figures and religious figures to break bread with him, oftentimes literally, to not only raise money, but promote awareness about what's going on in the city, of which we're all familiar with by this point. He had raised about $10 million a few months ago until Illinois' former richest man, and I say former because he's still rich, but he doesn't live in Illinois.
Yeah, he's out.
He actually just got permission to build his estate in Miami the other day.
Okay.
So Ken Griffin of the Citadel Hedge Fund, who had been in Chicago since the late 80s, who had donated hundreds of millions of dollars to Chicago, gave Pastor Corey Brooks $5 million. And that is a lot of money. Not a lot of money for Ken Griffin, but a lot of money for investing in black people. And the whole time I was writing this article, I could hear Yolanda's voice saying, so. And so the reason why I think this is important is because Ken Griffin also invested $50 million into various Republican candidates to
including
Democratic candidates in this upcoming election. He's a stalwart Republican, a diehard critic of Chicago, incited the city's violence for the reason why he's leaving to Miami, which he considers exemplary of the American dream. And this $5 million isn't just going to be like a one-time favor. Ken Griffin gets to put his name on this community center. You know, little black boys and girls are going to grow up and asking who Ken Griffin is.
Who the hell is Ken Griffin?
Right. And I feel like this is one very large attempt at the Republicans to try and woo black people away from the Democratic Party taking advantage of our vote and of our time. Whether or not Pastor Brooks will follow through on this is a whole nother story. But I certainly hope that he takes a page out of the book of Barack Obama, Harold Washington, and others who undoubtedly received monies from very, very rich white people, but still used it to their own ends. So
a couple of things is Pastor Brooks, from what I know of his story and his affiliations, if he's not a Republican, he is very much down the middle of the road as far as his politics are concerned.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, that only makes sense for donation's sake.
Right. As a businessman, you know, and he is a businessman. He is a man of the cloth, but he's also of the business of creating this $30 million facility on the south side of Chicago. The other thing is that Ken Griffin is, he was most notably and most recently known for supplementing the campaign of a black man who was running for the Republican nomination in the Illinois governor's race. Ken Griffin wanted to bounce out the other billionaire politician. He is not a J.B. Pritzker fan, who is the current governor of Illinois, and so he was pushing for this one black man, and I believe that's why he's moving, because the black man lost in the primary, and I think he's like,
as he should have.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
That guy, his reputation as mayor of Aurora, and prior to that, I came out against him immediately because of his rhetoric. Was so he had all the Republican dog whistles. It was like, not Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Okay, brother. As a black man, you have to understand that. Of course, we realize all lives matter, but Black Lives Matter needed to be said because Black Lives Matters has a more of a connotation of people who have been abused. Goofball. So it was funny, and I hate to jump in like that, but
no, absolutely.
When I posted his commercial and I said the Republicans found a house Negro, somebody from his camp reached out to me in my comments and like, well, why would you say that about the brother until you meet him? I'm like, what did
he say?
That said, and they changed that commercial after that for a little while. Then they brought it back for the last minute push, but for him to be a puppet on the string of Ken Griffin, a wealthy Republican, but they tried to use the black face. But the guy that he lost to, it may be even worse.
Yeah.
So,
and that, how fascinating I think politics are, but this Illinois, Chicago stuff is still grabs me. And no matter how far away I am from it, it still grabs me because, and we can talk about him and the things that he's done just in the last week following the Highland Park, Illinois massacre, and that the current Illinois nominee for the Republican Party in this governor's race and how that is concerned. But
and our current mayor might grab you too, but go ahead.
Well, she might for another reason, but I don't think I'm her type. I think she likes the tall blonde type, blonde females myself. So I got nothing for her, and more ways than one.
Right.
But this whole political thing is just really interesting. And not only did the black man, and it's Richard, what is his last name?
Irrelevant.
Okay, Richard Irrelevant.
That guy, because I forgot it too.
Former mayor of Aurora, as well as a former political candidate for the Republican nomination. He not only did he lose, he came into third place. I don't even think he came in second behind Bailey, who is the farmer, the rich farmer that is bumping up against J.B. Pritzker, who is a rich politician. So it's just really interesting. Keep an eye on this, ladies and gentlemen. And keep an eye on Ken Griffin, because Ken Griffin is moved to Florida. He got permission, and I wouldn't be surprised if it came from Governor DeSantis's office and the governor of Florida, and see how this all works out.
We also all know that historically speaking, that in the days of the civil rights movement, white political leaders infiltrated churches and used them to sow their rhetoric. So we already know that Pastor Brooks is kind of on the centrist, kind of like right leaning, and I would hate that Ken Griffin's legacy would sort of propagate that the extension of those kind of beliefs. Right. So I'm keeping hope alive for him. I'm glad that he's just $17 million away from what's going to be a major boon to the community. But I would like to take the $5 million, but he can keep everything else associated with it.
And if you want to come with some more money and just take us over the 30 million mark, then
then
we
could call it Black and Brown Kids in the Klan Center if somebody come with the whole
30. and in parentheses, Black Lives Matter.
Indeed. Yeah. Put a hood on top of the building. Let's give us the 30 million. Let's go.
Another thing that we talk about on a daily basis in our newsletter, we give you a COVID update, and this is interesting in that we try to find these stories, and now they're becoming far and few in between talking about COVID, although it's back. But this is about a case in which the Attorney General of Missouri has filed a case against China for COVID. for giving us COVID and us taking no responsibility for this, and especially the former president. So the judge said, "Look, dude, we can't have foreign entities. We can't take them to court. First of all, that's it." And I believe that this attorney general is looking for some pub as we are getting close to election time, as well as the fact that he's not just taking his case and going home. He says he's going to refile and he's going to take it to a higher level.
Appeal,
yeah. To
but
appeal
you can't sue a foreign sovereign nation under our laws. First of all, Second of all, how goofy do you sound?
Right.
You don't sue China. If that's the case, we need to sue China for. Nobody got money for the bootleg CDs back in the day, the movies, your Louis Vuitton, the Gucci. If all of them couldn't sue China, damn well they're not going to take a lawsuit and adhere to it for an invisible virus.
Dude, I wish I could sue China for like every bout of gas and every bout of food poisoning that I ever got.
Wow. And then we take it to our corner Chinese stores, food markets, and say, because they don't understand the importance of a good shrimp fried rice dish.
The ASPCA should be suing China. But what are they doing? Nothing, because you can't sue China. China don't give a damn about none of our laws, our rules, our maritime orders, our treaties with NATO. China is China. China's a gangster.
Truly. Yeah. Like what?
Right.
Xi Jinping, what? So this is interesting, but I do want to bring up the fact that we are talking about coronavirus again, and the White House coronavirus response team is stressing getting boosted in this briefing that they had, and addressing the new highly contagious BA.5 variant. Among the folks that are commenting, the message to Americans 50 and older to get another boost if they haven't gotten a shot this year, saying it could save your life. And people who are 55 or older, the message is simple. Just get it. Please go get another vaccine shot, urging Americans to test before gathering indoors or meeting high-risk people. And we are getting more and more reports, a lot of a high level of contamination or the virus itself coming into counties. A number of them are reporting at the high level. Some are gone from low to medium to high, and seeing it on a rapid pace. And even Dr. Anthony Fauci says that new variants aren't a reason to panic, and to disrupt our lives, because Lord knows nobody wants to hear that from Dr. Fauci, that we got to go back inside. But he is urging people to take it seriously, and added the talks are still ongoing about expanding those second boosters. I had a discussion with a doctor just the other night, and we're going to have Dr. Angela on this week, I believe, but talking about the necessity to get a booster. And she's saying that, I said I would like to wait until some of the variants are still coming about, and because that's what they're including in the new boosters. And she said, just go get it. And so I'm going to take her advice, but I think a lot of people are just kind of dismissing it. Damon, I don't know about you.
I'm on the fence because I haven't been boosted since my first 2 doses. But I saw in the article, I believe, that the BA has been evasive of the current booster shot. Right. So they're saying the booster that will actually affect the new variant won't be out until October.
That's why I was telling the doctor. I'm agreeing with you, because
I mean, how many shots you want me to get? You know what I mean? It's like, I want to go. I want to do the right thing, but at this point, I'm gonna wash my hands, wear a mask in groups if I have to.
Take that elderberry and all that other stuff.
The sea moss and the Blarney stone and. I'm doing all that. I'm gonna call Erica Badu, get some sage. But at this point, at least with the rise in the cases, there's not the rise in the intensive care and death. So, I mean, we can get sick, but right. I'm not. This is not my advice to anybody. I'm just saying I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I should probably get it before I get on this cruise ship, but I don't want to get it before I get on the cruise ship and then be sick from the shot.
Yeah.
And who knows when. Anyway,
A lot. It's a lot. Yeah. We'll pray for you.
Right. I'm
One,
gonna see what this Tito's do.
okay.
Yeah.
Tito it away. And the Jackson brothers going, what I got to do with this?
Because I know a lot of like street corner guys that hang out on the corner and they they're the neighborhood panhandlers and they ain't got none of them shots,
Right.
and they are okay. But don't let that be the barometer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
One other thing that I'd like people to take a look at in our newsletter before we close this out is our social justice activist, Coy Malone, talks about Emmett Till's family and supporters want the arrest of his accuser. They found a 1955 warrant in the basement of this courthouse in Mississippi, and they want Carolyn Bryant Dunham to be brought back to face the music in the case against Emmett Till and what happened to him. All right. So that's our newsletter. Please subscribe. Go to SybilWilkes.com. It's time for our question of the day. And recently, I love the national days. You know this. So we have in this month National Give Something Away Day. So the question, gentlemen, is what do you need to toss out or give away, or something someone in your life needs to get rid of, or if we're talking about tossing, somebody that needs to be out of your life? I was originally thinking of clothing, other accessories and things like that. But definitely we can stretch this if you like. So for our listeners and our viewers, on this National Give Something Away Day, what do you need to toss out or give away, or something someone in your life needs to get rid of? I learned very early on, and I'll share with you, just throwing my 2 cents in first. When I was a kid, when I would get new objects, get new pieces of clothing, my mother would say, okay, if you're going to get something new, you have to give up something so that you just don't become the pack rat that your father is. Unfortunately, I become my father. But it is, just one of those things, and just kind of keeps things very streamlined for you. And so that's the way I was brought up. I haven't followed through on that. And at the end of the year, I usually collect all this stuff and then give it away. But what about you guys? Are you of the mind that there's something that you need to get rid of, or maybe dismiss someone in your life? But how does that look for you? And for the people that are watching and listening, we'd like to hear from you as well. Khameron, you've been nodding. So what do you think?
Oh, the first thing that came to mind was I can give a damn, but okay. But we're the other thing that came to mind was that my grandma, she has this antique, authentic, marble table, and it had to have come out of the same quarry that the statue of David came from, because she absolutely loves this thing, and as we're looking for a new place to move all of us into, who's going to move that? It has to weigh at least a ton. I mean,
right.
That's huge. Real marble, right?
Yeah. And every time she every time we're packing stuff up, she says, have you packed up my marble table? And I'm like, Grandma, how?
And how big is it, Khameron? Is it like desk size? Is it a coffee table? This
thing is like Last Supper size.
Okay, in accordance with David.
Like how many chairs? Yeah.
We used to host Thanksgiving dinners around this thing. So this thing is huge, and it's so large. I don't even want it passed down to the family. I just want it returned to the quarry. But we're going to have to move it, and it's a beautiful table, it's a beautiful piece, but holy smokes, do I have to move this thing? So there's that.
The good thing is, Khameron, you don't have to carry it by yourself. They have people for that.
Yeah, but who is going to be willing to break their backs to move this thing?
Well, for the right amount. Those guys with those big things they wrap around their backs in order to support themselves, they might be willing to do that. I don't know. But I love that antique. And so I don't want to, put anything out there, but at one point or another, is somebody going to take this?
I've
table?
already placed my bid on the cast iron skillet that my grandma has. That's what I want as my inheritance.
You don't want nothing to do with the table, though.
No,
okay.
I don't want it.
Okay.
Well, if y'all decide to get rid of it, let me know. We'll find a place for it somewhere amongst my family.
That would be lovely.
I need to get rid of these. Yeah, wait.
I'm waiting to see what these is.
These nuts. Anyway.
That is.
I've been waiting to do that forever. No.
And the dutiful audience that we are. These what, David?
No, we've been purging the household because we got the new grandbaby here, and we want to have more space for her. But this room used to be Mandel's room, which is my stepson. But of course, he's away in the military, so it was this room became the collection space. So I can't even pan around for the stuff that we've been moving around. We've been living out of suitcases from like summer and fall and blah blah blah. So we're gonna purge some of this stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
What about your wardrobe? And I ask this of comedians because sometimes they come suited and booted, for your appearances, like maybe you did at the Chicago Theater, as opposed to the Lafatorium in Moss Point, Mississippi. Your look may be a little bit different. Do you go through your wardrobe on a regular basis and clean that out too as you're going through your luggage and just trading one bag for another each week?
I have a lot of shirts, and I went through a plaid era, and she wants me to get rid of all the plaid. That's out. All the plaid. And then I was a suit guy. I used to be suited.
Yeah.
And but those suits were of an era. So they had the big shoulder pads and the multiple buttons. So I got rid of suits, but I kept the buttons. You never know when you're gonna need some buttons. I'm like, okay, I get rid of suits, but I need all my buttons. No, but yeah, definitely. There's unless I wore it on television. If I wore it on a taping of some sort, then I keep it. But the other suits, like I try to pull them out every once in a while. Like, man, I could pull this out. No, as soon as I put it on, yeah, I can hear the music from that era. Right. I put on a suit and all I heard, to the window, to the wall. Like, nope, can't wear that.
What if you put on a suit and you hear get your kicks on Route 66? What kind of suit is that?
I don't have suits that old, but I might have one pair of shoes. Get your kicks on Route 66. I appreciate that reference, Khameron.
I do too.
The three of us, we were with you. Of course, she was just trying to help the illiterate in the world.
Khameron was taking us to school.
Yes, the Lilliputians.
So my thing is books. I have a lot of books, and I don't have a place for them so much anymore in my new space. And so I'm really kind of going through them and saying, is this a book I want to keep for my library for people to find, in the event, something should happen to me, or is this a book that, really can be tossed? And that's hard to do when you love books and you love the written word, but that's something that I'm doing. And do I want to keep, and I know the answer to this because you have to have the equipment to go with it. Some of those DVDs of movies that you just don't want to stream, for kids, like Disney stuff. And like, Damon, you can understand this, I think, with your granddaughter. there will come a time when you'll want to introduce her to maybe some of your movies, but you don't have the DVD player, or you
Right.
don't have, or in Tom Jordan's case, you don't have the laser disc player, for
The Blu-ray.
right.
I had that same issue as far as, and I get the DVDs. I had a great DVD collection and great CDs, but my albums, I had an album collection out of this world. And when I moved previously to the house I used to be in, that before I lost it, I moved all those albums there. So I gave them to DJ Dollar Bill, who has been my DJ for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, how about when he moved, apparently he didn't cherish my collection. I had like a white copy of Madonna's Like a Virgin. I had a purple copy of Purple Rain. I had a collector's item, Michael Jackson. I gave him because I entrusted him with my album collection.
Right.
And this young kid was at one of my son's gatherings, white guy, and he was a DJ. And he's like, "Man, I got your records." I'm like, "What do you mean you got my records?" "Yeah, DJ Dollar Bill is a friend of mine. He gave me, or he sold me, or whatever, but he has my collection." So I wish I would have just kept it somewhere, because now my wife bought me a turntable last year for Father's Day, and I got 6 albums.
Well, maybe you can go to your son's friend and kind of negotiate something.
Yeah, but he recognized the value of those, and he's not.
And you need to talk to Dollar Bill too. What up with that, man?
Bruh.
Aubrey Williams on YouTube says, this is very funny, Aubrey. "I need to give away my brother's potato salad recipe because it ain't hitting on ish." Aubrey, give away the tater salad recipe. It's that bad.
The mayonnaise isn't hitting right now.
Not the mayonnaise that you know and love. No.
Give it to a white person. It'll at least approve on their potato salad recipe.
Take it to the company cookout.
Boom.
Yeah.
Dora Levette Tiggs on Facebook says, "Local prisons can use those books." You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So all of my like fantasy books by like old white men, I toss them. Someone can download the PDF, but all of the black books I keep. Like period. And my dad also has like an exquisite like collector's edition of comics. Ironically enough. Like there's a collector's edition in my room of like Richard Pryor's like old like comedy sets. I don't have a DVD player anymore. I have no means of playing them, but I am gonna keep them because there are some devices out there that you can pull the file off the disc. So I might do that, but
you could just go on YouTube.
Yeah,
but you want to have a tangible item, because at some point, formats change and formats go away. I mean, that'd be like saying, "Well, I have it all loaded up on my MySpace." "I don't need these DVDs. I got them loaded up on my MySpace." Uh-oh.
What's a MySpace, Granddaddy?
Uh-oh. Well, I backed them up on my Napster and my LimeWire. So I'm safe. So keep your original copy, because they can make the machinery. It'll be nostalgic when they remake them, if they go away, or you find some vintage shop and you want to take your grandkids someday and be like, "This is what your grandpa used to listen to," and you can pop it in. So yeah, that'd be cool. Don't get rid of your originals. Books though, that was a good one. I think I'll go and try to find what my father's book collection. He was an avid reader.
I bet that's exceptional.
So yeah, I want to go tap into that and see what's going on with the books over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of folks like in like my age bracket are dealing with like digital hoarding. Like there's a lot of just like random files of stuff from years ago that you don't even use anymore.
So give me an example, Khameron.
Yeah, so like a bunch of old papers from college, for instance. And some of those could be useful, in case I have a little sister who like needs to write an essay. I'll just pass her one of my old papers. But a lot of like old like pictures that clearly don't look like you anymore. There's a wealth of like music and video, a bunch of like random emails definitely time to clean out that inbox from like
That's-
10 years.
That
ago.
sounds almost like going through your love letters, though. Do you have any of those on email?
I do have a very bad habit of keeping love letters. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah.
So that was our question for the day. I really enjoyed the conversation, guys, and just makes me think I got to go throw some ish out. So I really do. I really do. I do it on a regular basis, but not fast enough, apparently. All right, let's talk trending topics, shall we?
Okay.
All right, Damon. First of all, where are you at? Where are you going? You talked a little bit about the going out on the high seas next week, and then where else?
Festival at Sea. It leaves on the 16th. They're doing 8 days, but I'm coming home early when we dock in Aruba so that I can join the OJ's and Isley Brothers Tom Joyner event at the Erie Crown Theater on the 22nd. So
That's on a Friday.
Yeah, so that Friday we're saluting Tom Joyner. The city of Chicago is giving him his flowers. A lot going on, and it's the OJ's farewell tour,
which really breaks my heart.
Yeah, in fact, Eddie had gotten sick. I don't know if he's even back on the road with the tour. He had missed a couple of dates, so I definitely wanted to be home for that. I took time out off the ship to come back from that. Then on the 23rd, I'll be in the Memphis area for the LeBron Hospital fundraiser with Gary Owen. And that's with my man Nate from Laughsprin, like laugh like aspirin, Laughsprin. You can look that up on Instagram. And then the last weekend of the month, Ann Arbor, Michigan, the Cottage Inn comedy show. So the 29th and 30th. After that, Martha's Vineyard for 3 weeks. Yeah.
For the month of August.
Yeah, the 1st through the 20th, I'll be out there. So that covers it.
Awesome. That's a full summer, but your activities are always pretty full. Your activity board is always.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Martha's this year too, because we're doing a special night with Sherry Shepard on the 13th. So it'll be a night with Sherry and myself and the comedian talent. So we don't normally do weekends, but we're going to do that a special night because my buddy has the Strand Theater. So shouts out to the people at Hyatt, my man Tyrone Stoudemire for like looking out for promoting that evening. Yeah, Tyrone, he's a very interesting character. And look out for that. Martha's Vineyard ComedyFest.com. Everything else is on Damon Williams Comedy, Instagram, and DamonWilliamsComedy.com.
That's awesome. Did either one of you participate in the WNBA All-Star Weekend in Chicago?
A couple of my friends did. Yeah.
Really? What they did?
It was awesome, but it was in conflict with Earthquake and the other stuff.
In Chicago Theater, yeah.
Yeah.
What'd your friends do, Khameron?
These are like my sister's like rich black lawyer friends, like future of black America people. They had like courtside tickets, and they were like shooting hoops like among the press with some of the all-stars. Shaking hands, putting themselves out there, probably catching COVID.
But it's COVID light. We're gonna go with that.
Right.
Diet COVID. Yeah. So but yeah, I would have loved to be out there because some of those basketball players are beautiful, beautiful women.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
They are also a part of a group that is keeping the attention on Brittney Griner and her captivity she's still being held in Russia in a Russian prison, and we'll keep you up to date on that as well as she makes another return to the courtroom after she's already pled guilty. But we'll keep you up to date on that. But it was a big weekend, and for people keeping her name out there. And one of those things was a salute to her wife. She was there, and family members, and everywhere you looked on television, for me anyway, there was always a reference to Brittney Griner and what's going on for her. So I mentioned that because there's a story that King James, LeBron James, is on his TV show, The Shop, on HBO, the barbershop. He said during a recent taping of that show that he'd questioned returning to America if he were Brittney Griner. During the taping of The Shop, he says that now how can she feel like America has her back? I would be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America? This obviously took place, this taping took place probably before the president, the White House, the vice president, and talked to Sybil Griner, and all of these things have supposedly happened. The American public wasn't made aware of Brittney's arrest initially, and so a lot of things, people felt that they were not giving her the attention that she was due. But if you compare it to the white guys, the military guys that are being held, their captures, their arrests were not made a big deal of either. But in this particular episode, and you know how guys do at the barbershop. I love the barbershop. They,
I miss the barbershop.
I need to go to the barbershop.
Well, I think you can still go, Damon. And
no. See, I used to go, and after I wasn't getting service, I would take my son. But now he's so natural; his hair just grows forever.
Yeah.
So right. So I just like just sitting in the barber. The funniest people are in the salons and the barbershops.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it's a lot of people that could be making a living off jokes if they just tried it after the barbershop. My wife is hilarious. She was a hairstylist for 20 years, and she entertained that shop every day.
So here's the thing, in a new style situation, the woman that does my hair, she is so COVID aversive that COVID averse.
She digitally does your hair?
She pretty much virtually. Yeah.
Oh.
But only one customer at a time.
Oh.
And so there's not that conversation. There's not the the gossip and all of that stuff. Although she does like to talk, but it's not that kind of conviviality that women have amongst each other.
Kind of what?
Is that your new big A word? Conviviality?
Thank you. I think I'll
give it to her. Give it to her. One more time.
Conviviality.
Thank you.
That's CON. I'm kidding.
Yes. I'm not.
So that's the thing that I miss, but the conversation, of course, and talking about things, and that's why I like the shop. I really do like that show.
I was saying that was the biggest issue for Black women during the quarantine was the hair salons were closed, but you all were still sneaking out having little secret Underground Railroad hair appointments.
Yeah.
And no conviviality.
It's so silly.
I know there's no ology on their work.
We'll put it there anyway. Won't we add something to it?
It'll be a conviv after we finish with it.
Okay.
I just want to have a little conviv with the people. You understand me?
A what? A conviv. Convivate. Yeah.
Yes, it's like convo, but conviv. The plural of convo.
Get in tune. See?
Cousin to conversate. Yes.
Yes.
David,
exactly.
We have not mentioned your girlfriend Gayle King's best friend's loss of her father. Yes. Oprah Winfrey announced that, first of all, on the 4th of July, they gave him a great celebration honoring Mr. Vernon Winfrey. And then just a few days later, we were sad to learn, as Oprah shared with everyone, that her father, Mr. Vernon Winfrey, had passed away. She said, yesterday, the family surrounding his bedside, I had the sacred honor of witnessing the man responsible for my life take his last breath. We could feel peace enter the room at his passing. And as I mentioned, they did have this 4th of July special celebration. And Gayle King was the official photographer for this, Damon, who you may see in a few weeks.
Absolutely. We'll see. And actually, my nephew, my brother's son, his mom is of the Winfrey clan. So he attends all the Winfrey family reunions. He may have been there, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I'm indirectly connected to that way, and but he always talked about Vernon. So yeah, it was sad to see, but it was kind of a hospice gathering,
right,
so to speak.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
But that's a sad situation. 88 years old though.
Yeah,
so
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good living. And there could never be a question of Maury saying you are the father, because you look at Oprah Winfrey and you look at Mr. Winfrey,
Yeah.
you definitely. And she talked about being sent to her father when she was 14, and she said, I could have gone in another direction. I could have made a good criminal. I would have used the same instincts that she had differently. But she went to Mr. Winfrey to live with her father after years with her mother, as I said, 14, and it made all the difference in the world, she says, in her life. And there's nothing like the power of a good father in your life to make
Hashtag
this.
Black Dads Matter.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And he was definitely a dad girl. So really prayers and congratulations to Oprah on a life well lived, and recognizing it, have the opportunity to recognize it for her father.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody watching this Elon Musk situation with Twitter?
I've like
With Twitter.
lightly observed the beef. I have not partaken.
I am, first of all, I am not an Elon Musk fan. I got to tell you that. I think he is, I like eccentric. I like a little different, but he is so far off on the eccentric scale that he, and the fact that he's got 10 kids by different women, and everybody's going in on on other Black men and celebrities having a number of children, but nobody's saying anything about Elon Musk. But that's neither here nor there. So it's all about the Twitter feud. All right. So he made this deal that he's going to buy Twitter for $44 billion, right? But there's certain things that they need to answer to before he signs off on the deal. Well, Twitter said, you made the agreement, you're going to have to pay up. And I'm not saying just the payment of $1 billion if you don't go through with this deal. So Twitter is delivering on its promise to sue Elon Musk, the eccentric bazillionaire, for backing out of what they say was his promise to buy the social media platform. And they want a judge to force him to follow through, not just to make that $1 billion payment, but to follow through on the $44 billion that he promised to pay in his offer.
Elon Musk is like a villain in an Austin Powers movie. He's like, I'll buy Twitter for $44 billion. No, I won't.
Yes, I will. No, I won't.
Right.
Yeah.
44 with the B, sir.
I'm the only B in
Did
here.
I say billion? I meant $44 million.
So he's backing out because the stock market tanked right after he signed the deal in April. And the company says the dip reduced his wealth by $100 million, which means nothing to him, I'm sure. Look at me counting his money. They said that it reduced his wealth by 100 billion, and the value also of Twitter stock also slumped, making his offer even more over the company's market value. And so he's looking pretty ridiculous in terms of his offer, and he wants it to go the $58 in some sense that he offered per share of stock. He wants it to go back down to where it is now in the 30s. And there's like nope, you signed this, you're going to do it, and we're going to take you to court. So
yeah,
is it going to be interesting?
Elon commands an army of like toxic white men who like aspire to be like him but never will. And they're also in the same camp of like Trumpeteers as well. So he's been posting like a lot of memes on Twitter, you know, riling people up, sort of like corralling his fan base of these incels, and it's just exacerbating a lot of the fears that we have over these invisible internet communities. Anyhow, Elon Musk and Trump kind of like riff off one another often on the web stream.
It's such a waste of time. I mean, it's a lot like watching Donald Trump in his faltering social media platform, and complain about what's going on at the public hearings where all of his stuff is being laid bare.
Like Trump sending out a letter on his website, and even further on his MySpace.
Right. And you know, how ridiculous is it for Elon Musk to tweet out on the platform that he now is backing out of, saying, "No, I don't want this." It's like,
Right.
really, dude,
Nah,
come
no
on.
thanks.
Okay, thanks, but no thanks. All right, and the so that is what's going on. Those are some of our topics that we are talking about today, and so now let us move on to entertainment. I really want to get your take on this. This entertainment story is about T-Pain. I love T-Pain. He's always been a good friend to us, and he is a mature musician, if you will. He says that Chris Brown has a this is harsh. He has a princess complex and not reacting well to what was called the disappointing debut of his latest album, Breezy. See, that's him. That's Chris Brown.
That's baby Ava.
You sure it's not Chris Brown in the other room? I love the sound effect, Damon.
Right.
So he's shaming Chris Brown for his immature outburst. He's not shocked about his outburst about the Breezy album. Almost, well, it didn't bomb, but it hasn't done as well as his previous. He was chopping it up on a conversation when the topic of Chris Brown's record sales for his 10th album came up, and it didn't go as planned, debuting at number 4 on the Billboard chart. And Chris Brown reacted in a bit of foul language, promising to be on his gangster-ish once again, which sounds like an adventure unto itself. But T-Pain says it's all because he's been enabled his entire career, and said his condition is far worse than being spoiled. And T-Pain has pointed out the CB's lack of adjustments in his life. And they've collaborated. They're cool, you know, as far as music and stuff is concerned. But he's saying that this childish behavior of his is not cute, and it does speak to an entitled sense of entitlement.
What T-Pain is trying to say is Chris Brown acting real light skinned, but I can see him being disappointed after people recently, you know, some athletes said Chris Brown was more talented than Michael Jackson, and
right,
you know, had him hyped up.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a very talented performer. His music though is mostly auto-tuned, and you know, right now nobody is doing major numbers, and it really doesn't even matter. See, I don't count anybody's debut when they debut number 1 and they got these streams. When it was important, when it mattered was when people went out and stood in line and put their money over the counter and bought your CD and got the pliers and the wire cutters to get open to play your music.
Go
now
to George's music room and really,
yeah, I could just tap on my phone and download and stream it. That ain't even a fandom. You know, they didn't have to do nothing. Some people used to camp out to get albums when they came out. So, you know, Chris Brown, you can whine all he likes. It is what it is. Nobody, I'm sure, even the number 1 album that year didn't do what Michael Jackson's release would do, or even what Eminem would do when he released the album. So it's a different world, man. Stand down.
It really is a different world. And does this mean anything to you, Khameron? I know you don't know about, you know, standing in line for an album or a CD.
No, actually, the last album that I bought was Hypnotized by System of a Down. And I was in line at a Borders, actually. So
Borders. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
10 years ago, maybe more. No, Hypnotized came out in 2008. So 12 years ago. Yeah. 14.
So what do you think about Chris Brown? Not that you're a fan. I'm not asking that, but I'm just asking in terms of his sense of anger and entitlement regarding, you know, how well he did not do.
Yeah. All my sisters used to love Chris Brown a lot. I know a lot more. I have Chris Brown songs committed to memory more than I would like to. And I wish that I could like replace the brain matter dedicated to memorizing the song, but I can't. I can definitely see him being a little sassy, because he was he was coddled his whole career. considering all of the massive changes that he did and all of the crack that he smoked, he has been coddled his whole career, and now he's mad that his 10th album didn't do well. Come on,
and then there could be there could be a Rihanna effect as well.
Yeah,
because she's super popular right now still, and no one has forgotten that he abused her in that situation. So just be glad you even still have a career, because he should have really been canceled a long time ago.
Yeah,
right.
cancel
According to the cancel, yes, indeed.
And he got a lot of grief when he tweeted out or sent his congratulations via social media to Rihanna on the birth of her baby boy. And the people like, leave her alone. Just don't.
Right. Yeah.
So this may be on the heels of that.
He's a toxic dude. Like even when I guess Karrueche might have been one of his exes, and he was stalking her at one point. So, bruh, these women, these women ain't loyal.
Thank you for altering that.
Right. Or really, these women are loyal and those H's are not.
Okay. There you go. Let us close with our daily inspiration. This is Yogi's Jewel for the day. Be careful with your words. Once they are spoken, they can only be forgiven, not forgotten. So be gentle. Be gentle, Damon. With these.
That's a word there, Yogi. That's a word.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. It's been fun. Damon, I look forward to talking to you soon. And be careful out there.
Hopefully aboard the ship. Yep.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Aloha.